cause I don't give a fuck what you say. Yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make.
Hey guys, what's going on? It's your host, your boy, George Mackay. Back again with the MLW Rewind, and as you can see, I never do it alone. Next to me is my homeboy, my PIC, the one and only, Uncle Bobby B.
Hi.
Wow. All right. let's not figure out what's wrong with him today. Let's just move past
I'm doing my Kobe Durst. Smile and wave. Like, I don't know why he doesn't use smile and wave, but that's as a theme song, but that's besides the point. This is MLW Rewind, baby.
Hold on a second. Kobe Durst has a sick entrance theme song. That's all I'm going to say. I'm going to leave it alone. Kobe Durst's theme song is tight. It's tight.
Yeah, but if I was him, if I was Kobe, in certain promotions, especially if I'm being booked as like a baby face, I would use smile and wave by, was it the Headstones or whoever the fuck it is?
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
That would just be perfect. Anyways,
all right, guys. So we had a little bit of technical difficulties the last couple weeks. Links weren't getting. We recorded once. It was just a whole shit show. So we decided that we're gonna slam 2 recap shows into one. No watch along this week. We are a day late, but we're scissoring, if you will. We are office supplying all kinds of shit right now. We're going in episode 164 and 165. 164 was last week's episode. 165 was last night's episode. So without further ado, let's run down the recap. I mean, by now you've probably seen it, so no spoilers ahead. If you just tune into Rewind to catch up on MLW, we thank you for that. And spoilers ahead is what it is. Here we go. So MLW Fusion 164. Taya Valkyrie, Trish Adora. That's going to be the main event of the evening. I'm very excited for that. And who better to start the show than the one and only CD? CD's nuts, if you will. Cesar Durant comes out to start the show. He basically says he is, without a doubt, the Tom Brady of Lucha Libre. That's right. He is the GOAT. According to Cesar Durant, he is the GOAT. And he's got a gift for all of us unappreciative renegades, as he so forth called us.
Yes, the neckbeards.
Yes, that's right. And the gift is none other than the one, the only, Sam Adonis. And he looks fantastic, coming fresh off another tour of duty in Triple A, if you will. He looks ready to go. And you know what? He wins quite easily over, I believe the gentleman's name was a local talent from wherever they were. I believe his name is Johnny Hatch, if I heard the announcers correctly. He had a couple slight movements in there, but I mean, let's be honest, this was definitely a squash match. And Sam Adonis pretty much debuted with a lot of style and flair. What did you think about that one there, Rob?
Yeah, I thought it was a pretty good debut. We talked about Sam Adonis a couple weeks ago. And like, I hate to say this because I know full well he doesn't like to be referred to as this, and I'm not trying to detract from his accomplishments because his are his own. He is the brother of Corey Graves from WWE, but he's really made his name for himself and outside of the States, which is really cool. He ran like a pro Donald Trump gimmick in Mexico, and he like, when you saying he's like the most hated man, like, he was not kidding. He was they were not but you know, it was a gimmick and it got over in that he was a heel and everybody hated him. So good for him. I thought he looked pretty good in this match. He's big, man. Like, he's a big dude.
You mean tall? You mean height-wise?
Yeah,
okay.
Like,
Sure.
And just physically big. When you're that tall, you're just proportionately large. So you know, he
looked almost like a cross between a hybrid, if you will, between a middleweight and a heavyweight. He could kind of go either way.
Yeah, you know, you don't work in Mexico all that time without picking up some lucha libre techniques.
100%.
Right. So yeah, no, he's a big man, but he moves a little more agility than a big man normally would. Thought it was a solid debut, you know, with the departures that we know are imminent. You know, MLW's got to refresh the talent pool, and they're doing that. And I think this is a good get because it's somebody that's not known from other stuff within the States. It's a nice Mexico link there. American, but he's known in Mexico. We know MLW's trying to tap in more into that Mexican market, or even that South American market, if you will. So this is a solid move from a business standpoint and a wrestling standpoint. I liked it. Interested to see what else they do with him.
Absolutely. And he pledged his allegiance to Cesar Durant rather early on in cutting a promo after the match. The young announcer, her name escapes me right at this moment, but I guess you'd say the new Alicia Altut, if you will, the new backstage correspondent. She said, "Why would you align yourself with Cesar Durant?" And he well, Durant freaked out, had a temper tantrum, but Adonis was cool. He kiboshed you right then and there. He said, honey, be careful. Because questions will hurt you, but answers will haunt you. And I like that. I thought that was a pretty badass fucking statement to walk out on. So kudos to Sam Adonis for drawing my attention in rather quickly in his debut. And we also will, well, Bobby and I will be seeing him in a couple weeks at Demand Lucha, which I'm excited for. It should be, to see him in person, it'll be fan-fucking-tastic. So it'll be a good one. And now we go into a Induka and Hammer promo. Bobby talked about it earlier. Eminent departures. Induka is one of them. Myron Reed has already happened. So this is kind of the final tale. We'll be seeing the wrap up of this storyline next week. That's right. February 7th, Tuesday, 10 p.m. on Reels. Bobby and I will be having our watch along. We'll be letting everybody know what we think of the new MLW Underground. That's right. MLW is going to have 2 shows in a week. So the Rewind, you're going to see a lot more of us, which is pretty fucking cool. So we'll be either doing watch-alongs or recaps of Underground, depending on how we feel, or vice versa. We'll be doing watch-alongs or recaps of Fusion, depending on how we feel. If we do the recaps, it'll be the day after. If we do the watch-along, it'll be the day of. So just
and I don't know if you noticed, just because I finished wrapping up just to keep it fresh, watching episode 165 just before we hit record. Like they've really taken another step in terms of just polish and production value. Like
Absolutely.
even just their coming up screens and voiceovers and everything, a little bit different than what we've been used to over the last couple of years. I'm digging the changes.
We've talked about the production value increasing over the last.
Yeah, but it's now that there's been some more, like, it seems more significant, sudden changes.
Well, I also think no diss at all at Rich Pacini, but I think adding Matt Stryker to the commentary team with Joe Dombrowski, it adds a little bit more of a flair that I like. I really like the chemistry that Stryker and Dombrowski have, and I'm enjoying them so far on commentary. I really think they're good. I loved Rich. I don't know what's happened. Maybe he's more backstage. I'm not sure, but I definitely am digging on Stryker and Joe Dombrowski for sure, 100%.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm not feeling this. I'm not feeling this tandem at the moment, but I'll give them some time to. I thought the first couple were a little.
I really liked the
rough.
way they held shit down in 164. And speaking of which, let's get back to 164. So we talked about Induka. We talked about the Eminent departure and Induka and Hammer. We've got the promo leading up to Lucha Underground, which was all good. And we also got a Trish Adora highlight reel, which is pretty cool, seeing all her highlights from the first match. And we got big news. Lio Rush is coming out of retirement for the 17th time and will return to MLW very shortly. I don't care.
No, I mean, I care. Like, I don't care if he's coming out of retirement at 17th time. He's a good wrestler. Let him work.
I've had enough.
Yeah, he's a good wrestler. Let him work.
That's fine. I'm not saying not let him work, but at the end of the day, don't retire. Just say you're stepping away. There's no point retiring so many times.
Listen,
coming back. Listen, I have a right to speak my piece, and you can't shut me up on this one.
I'm not shutting you up.
I have full right to speak my piece. I'm tired. If you're going to retire, retire. It's like Tom Brady.
Okay, but George, let me ask you, what does the word retire mean in pro wrestling? Because really, how many people have retired and come back?
I don't know.
How many?
I can't.
Exactly.
I can't
it's an untold
But how many people
amount.
have come back the amount of times that Lio Rush has? Let's be honest. In the last 2 years, how many times has Lio Rush retired?
Who cares? Okay, yeah, he's retired a bunch of times. And come back. So sometimes
I care.
Okay, well, retiring doesn't mean permanently in pro wrestling. It's I've been saying, and this is not new. I've been saying this.
A lot of people say they step away these days. Some people say this, for example, local great talent down here, Justin, saying he is officially hanging up his boots officially March 18th, and it'll suck to see him go. But that again, that's how you do it. I'm hanging up the boots. I've done everything I've wanted to do. I'm moving on to the next chapter of my life. I'm not saying Lio Rush isn't moving on to the next chapter of his life, but I'm just tired of seeing the retirements and the returnings. That's all I'm saying.
There needs to be a new term for when you retire, but you actually retire. Like you're officially
hanging up the boots.
Never gonna wrestle again. No, hanging them up doesn't even count because people hang them up and then come back again. Anyways, you need to be like banished or something, like self-banishment.
What started off as a joke, which I thought my one-liner was pretty crafty. Right away, you had to kibosh it.
No, I'm not kiboshing it, but you know why? Because you're not the only person that feels that way. And I'm just saying, like, if he wants to retire and come back, I don't really give a shit. Because at the end of the day, we could see him work. He's a good wrestler.
I know when he works, it's magic. It absolutely is magic. I will take nothing away from his in-ring ability. All I'm saying is that hot fire, the flame keeps decimating and returning. That's it. I don't know. I mean, just the propane tank refills great. And we're gonna move on now. Alex Kane promo. It's always fire. Here talk about Boomaye. I mean, what do you want? At the end of the day, you and I are gonna have
No, the propane tank refill sent me. I'm sorry, it just sent me. That's all.
well, fuck.
I'm laughing.
The propane tank. I mean, he called himself, Hot Fire Young. Like Leo Rush had so many different nicknames for himself, and a lot of nicknames were monikered between him and Myron Reed.
Not as many as Sam Adonis. Did you hear him cut that little?
Well,
I liked that little thing.
episode.
Not to jump ahead, but yeah.
So okay. Anyways, speaking of promos, Alex Kane promos always fire. He's gonna rebrand the Opera Cup, the Oprah Cup. That's right. He's gonna rebrand it the Oprah Cup. I thought that was hilarious. And then we get right after that, we get a Davey Boy Smith promo and a Dynamite Kids nephews promo outside the arena as they're coming into the building, and they ask, Davey his thoughts on what he thinks about the Oprah Cup. And he said, you can call it the Oprah Cup, you can call it the Jim Carrey Cup, you can call it whatever cup you want. The fact is that you destroyed it and you mangled it. That's what it's upsetting me. So let's not sully the title's name or the cup's name, but the fact that you fucking dented it, that bothers him. I don't get it. I don't get it.
Do you remember the 3 things that he said you could call it? It was Jim Carrey Cup. He made up like 3 things. You could call it the Jim Carrey Cup. I just want to know if that was just Davey, like off the top of his head, those were the first 3 names he thought of, because I was crying laughing when he said the Jim Carrey Cup, because I'm like, why Jim Carrey? Like, what was
Canadian? You got to rep Canada whenever you can.
And that was the second thing that I was watching it, and I went to myself, holy shit, this is the first time I've ever watched somebody and thought to myself, wow, they have a Canadian accent. Because I don't hear Canadian accents because I'm fucking Canadian.
Davey Boy
right?
But has a very heavy Canadian accent. Yes, he does.
And I don't mean like a Newfoundland or Quebec accent. I just mean like a more of a normal. Well, sorry, not to imply they're abnormal. I mean like a GTA, because that's normal to me.
We're gonna get fucking canceled. Jesus.
Yeah, no, I'm not implying anybody is abnormal for not having a Toronto area accent.
All right.
But
I understand. Yes.
anyways, yeah, I was like, holy shit, this guy has a Canadian accent. And I popped for that segment. I thought it was pretty cool. Davey Boy's promos just come off as very like genuine. Like he's not a character. He's just like, this is what I'm saying.
We'll get into my thoughts on his promo in the following episode, because sometimes they feel genuine, like you said, and sometimes they feel really, really forced. Like he spent.
Yeah, I didn't like the next one.
Yeah, it's too much time trying to rehearse, but we'll get into that.
I concur.
Yeah, okay, good. All right, and where was I now? Dragon Gate match. We got an awesome Dragon Gate match. This was amazing. What can I say? Yamada versus Shun Skywalker, hands down, in my opinion. If you haven't watched this episode, I encourage you to pause us, go watch it, come back and hear what we have to say, because very early on, we are 5 weeks going into 6 weeks into the new year, and very early on, will I say that this match has me buzzing for more Dragon Gate, to the point where I kind of want Dragon Gate right now to outweigh MLW content on MLW, because this match was that fucking good, man. Yamada, I know very little about Yamada, but Shun Skywalker we've been exposed to the last couple weeks here at MLW, and he's a fantastic talent, former middleweight champion, before Lince Dorado took it away from him literally a week ago or 2 weeks ago now. But this match had the makings of one hell of a story. Shun Skywalker came out all business, redefining himself. Yamada looked focused and ready, and these were just 2 young bulls that tore it up in so many ways. This was a show. This was wrestling in its purest form, and I think I've said that a few times during our run here at MLW, but this match was just something special. A match of the year candidate in my eyes. I could watch this match. This match for me will rank right up there as time passes, not right now, but as time passes, as good as WrestleMania 10, because I've watched that match 1,000 times, and every time I watch it, I just love it that much more. This match will grow better with age, in my opinion. This match was just fucking incredible.
It was a good match. Honestly, homie, you should really, like, you would love to watch more Japanese wrestling. You would dig it if you like that match.
A little bit. I watch a little bit, but I'm not going to be honest. I'm not fully. There's
no. How can you be?
Content now, it's ridiculous. But I do know Dragon Gate. I've known Dragon Gate for a bit. I stepped away, came back with a partnership with MLW. But this match, I forgot to mention. Sorry, this is for the Over the Dream Championship, by the way, which I thought was really
open the gate.
I thought it was Over the Dream.
Open the dream, maybe. It's always dream. Open the dream.
Yeah, open the dream or open. But what's cool is that every time the champion beats somebody, he gets the key. But if you when you hand in your key to be the challenger, if you win, you unlock the championship, and you remove the keys of the former champion. Now you become the sole heir of the open over the dream or open gate championship, whatever it was. It's still fucking cool as fuck. And the Japanese, they know how to put on a show, and that arena was packed. And those people that were in attendance that night, lucky motherfuckers, man, they got to see poetry in motion. It was fire.
And you notice so it's a cultural thing, the difference in the Japanese fans versus the American fans or Western fans, like dead quiet
You know what? I was so
at first.
focused on the match that I didn't really focus on the audio of the crowd. I was just into it, man. I was
But
into
that's
it.
the thing, you didn't even notice, but they're like they pop for spots and they cheer when something happens, but they're so just like quiet and respectful. There's no like obnoxious idiots trying to get on TV or anything like that. They're just like quiet watching the match. They cheer when something impressive happens. It's just a totally different presentation, and I don't care. There's nobody that's going to tell me Japanese mat sounds aren't the best mat sounds out there.
Very
They
clean.
sound
Very clean.
like they sound great when they hit. It looked so good. This match was absolute fire. I was on Twitch conversing with Ricky Shane Page, and I happened to mention, like, if you haven't watched this match, go watch it. And he was saying he's actually been going back and watching old MLW, trying to catch up, get more familiar with the product, because he is going to be doing more MLW work. He was actually
Nice.
he flew out today. He was saying to me, coincidentally, I'm flying out today to go to Philly to record a taping with MLW. I was like, fan fucking tastic. But yeah, he said he went back and watched this match, and it was a really good match. So don't take our word for it. Take Ricky Shane Page's word for it. It was a fire match. Go watch it. Just everything that's great about Japanese wrestling was in there.
Absolutely. It was a fantastic story, and it was a great ending. And well, spoilers ahead, like I said, Yamada, we got a new champion. Yamada beat Shun Skywalker for the open gate or over the gate, whatever that amazing championship is. And it's a good looking belt too. It's really fucking nice. He's the new champ regardless, and it was one hell of a match. And now to go to a more somber and serious note, Richard Holiday addresses the MLW universe for the first time since the diagnosis of Hodgkin's lymphoma. And he had a lot of great stuff to say. Some of the sound bites that I took away from him is that the fight is strong. He's been responding very well to the chemo treatments. And when you're breathing rarefied air, you just know how to fight. And couldn't have done it. He looked great. He looked like a man that is optimistic of his chances. And I think we will see Richard Holiday in an MLW ring very soon. Also, we do have Alicia Altoot coming on the show, pre-recorded next Tuesday. We'll probably drop that next Wednesday or Thursday, but we'll be doing that as well. Or maybe we'll even drop it on the Tuesday. I'm not sure. 5 o'clock, we'll be sitting down with her next Tuesday. We'll get some more in-depth stuff about Richard, but we know Richard watched our stuff on a regular basis. He's been a former guest, and Richard, we're with you. The MLW Rewind family is behind you, and we're so glad. I was so happy to hear that you're responding well to the chemo treatments, and then everything looks to be on an uptick, which is fan-fucking-tastic.
Yeah. Lost my dad to cancer in 1995. It's something that hits close to home for me. But medical technology has advanced so much. Richard is absolutely a fighter. You could see it in his eyes. He's definitely not giving up, and I'm confident he's going to kick out of this, and we're going to see him back in an MLW ring. So, of course, all the best going out to Richard Holiday. You might be one of the most dastardly heels in the ring, but outside of the ring, you're a brother to everybody in pro wrestling, and we wish you the best.
Absolutely, 150%. And we get more Sam Adonis in this episode. He attacks Microman with a garbage can. That's right. He puts the garbage can over poor Microman's head. Lince Dorado not
Dick
happy.
move.
Lince Dorado not happy, and he rescues that with an exchange of words, saying to Sam Adonis better watch himself. Don't disrespect his homie Microman. And I believe this will obviously set up down the line. We're going to see Lince Dorado face Sam Adonis for the MLW Middleweight Championship. This is just the opening seed being planted, if you will. But it's down the line. It's going to be pretty cool. And then we get a Samoan SWAT team promo. Half the time, I really have no idea what they're talking about. They're just so hyped, and I fucking love them to death. But I do understand that, or I did pick up a few of the sound bites with the audio. This probably was not the cleanest audio promo that we've seen from MLW in a while. So production-wise, I'm sure they'll be fixing these things as it goes. But
Can I stop you for a quick second? I'm sorry. I hate to do this, but because you said the audio issues, I wanted to ask you, did you notice in the opening when Cesar was talking how loudly, like how clearly you could hear the crowd telling him to shut up. What are you even doing here? Like, it was
Yeah, but
almost louder than.
I think that was a detail that was done on purpose. I think
Okay,
that
I
was done
wasn't sure.
because, and that's why he called us what did he call us?
Like,
Unforgiving or undeniable. He
unruly.
usually calls it unruly renegades, I believe is the words he used. And I think that was a planted on
Okay, so you
purpose
think that
type
meant
thing.
well, that was maybe like even done in
But
post or
this
something?
one
Okay,
was, you could literally see they were somewhere obviously in Cali, where they were filming in someone's backyard, I believe, and you could hear the plane flying over very, very distinctly, much like the Mance Warner promo where we saw the plane flying over. At the end of the day, you're going to film outside. These are the risks you take, but there's great things like crop. Crop does fix usually 95% of problems. Believe me, I know. And it's even if you're in, when I watch old TV shows like Family Matters, you know how many times I see the mic? I see the mic in Family Matters more than I see Steve fucking Urkel. And that's saying something because Steve Urkel's in every episode. I'm just saying.
Jeez.
Crop fixes a lot of problems, guys. So, crop it up if you can. But anyways, from what I could make out in this promo, Fatu's on a roll. He beat Willie Mack. He beat Ben K, which was another awesome fire match. Ben K is one of the Dragon Gate roster members. That guy's amazing. And he's just on a roll, and he's ready. He's ready for Hammer or Duca, whoever has the championship. He is fucking ready. That's what he said. And then the plane. So, yeah, that's what happened.
The plane.
The plane. And then we get our main event, which is featherweight action for the featherweight title. That's right. Trish Adora going one-on-one with Taya Valkyrie, coming out with CD. CD is aligning himself with a lot of the big names in MLW. And this match was great. I actually, at first, I was pissed off with the ending because the ending was CD interfering and Trish Adora not gaining the title, which she should have, Taya retaining. But then I thought about it. This is smart because the way they did it, Trish Adora saves face. She didn't lose. The champion didn't pin her cleanly. Therefore, she'll get a rematch down the line, and she'll probably become our second MLW featherweight champion. I'll put my money on that now. And Taya looks strong because she's a heel, and she played the part to perfection. Aligning herself with CD is definitely different now than it was when she first debuted back in MLW when she came back, because her and CD were not liking each other. They were not. CD was more on the Holodead side of things, not the Taya Valkyrie side of things. But now Taya is the featherweight champion, and he's obviously aligned himself with her. Or there's a partnership there that probably benefits Taya more than it does CD. Taya Valkyrie is pretty crafty. She's probably using CD as much as he's using her. There's a mutual benefit to being on the same side of the fence in this one. But all in all, I thought the match was great. Trish Adora, like I said, looked strong. And the ending, at first I didn't like it, but going back to it now, it makes sense. Trish looked strong. She didn't lose fate because the champ didn't pin her, and the champ retained. So all in all, it's a win for both parties. What did you think of the match, Rob?
I thought it was a good match. I thought both women got a chance to showcase what they're capable of. It helped move a bit of story along. And I also thought it was a nice nod that, like, again, it's Black History Month. It's February. Trish Adora is a very unapologetically black wrestler. I thought that was a nice touch to have that match today, kind of kicking off February and Black History Month.
Absolutely. Well, actually, it was the last week of January, I believe, because we're a week behind, right?
True, but I guess it was.
I guess the prelude to I get what
yeah,
you're saying.
yeah.
I understand what you're saying. All right, and that's the recap.
The timing.
That's the recap for. I wasn't trying to correct you. I was just stating a point. That's all.
No, you can correct me. I'm okay to be corrected. I
Absolutely,
like it.
man. Listen, we all got to fill our propane tank 17 times. It's all good, dude. All good. Yeah, propane tanks. I love them.
Propane.
You can fill them at Costco for like $15. So
I hope. Let's hope somebody filled one tonight. I got to play poker in a garage without a heater. Woo-hoo.
I'm hoping somebody filled it for you too. All right, episode 165 was last night's episode. And we get right away, we get the SST. That's right, the Samoan SWAT team. They come out and they cut one hell of a promo. Joseph Fatu saying he wants the gold. They are the most undefeated. They are the only undefeated tag team in MLW right now, and they're not wrong. But they get interrupted by one OG and somebody I don't recognize. He's not part of the original FBI. Obviously, it's a new member of, I guess, a new version of FBI. I want to say it's little Guido's son, but I'm not sure.
No, he's a collegiate athlete. His name escapes me though. Something Jazz, Ray Jazz.
Right,
I think his name. So. I think that's what his name was. So I'm not familiar with
him. Well, obviously, we're talking. I mean, if you heard what I said earlier, we're talking about FBI. Little Guido made his return to MLW, made his return to the ECW arena, talking about how he won gold in that building, 20 years ago, and the crowd started going EC dub, obviously, as they do all the time. But it was great to see Little Guido. The match was okay. Obviously, Little Guido restricted age-wise, but he still looked great, and he still had a couple spots. But Obviously, the Samoan SWAT team, quite easy for the win. We had a couple high points, was the double Samoan drop, which is always classy from Juicy. And then we had the Polynesian plunge from Lance Wane, and that was the 1, 2, 3. And the great thing about that is after the 1, 2, 3, I don't know if you caught it, Rob, little Guido stood up, did the whole and then fell back down the mat. That was fucking hilarious. Classic little Guido. And yeah, it was great to see FBI kind of a little bit of resurgence. I hope we see them more. If it's a grooming process, that prospect, that collegiate athlete, he looks like he could go toe to toe with a couple guys that are wearing gold right now in MLW for sure. So I would like to see a little bit more of that. But great to see little Guido. Always classic. Such an ass. Has that face you still want to hit, and it's awesome.
Yeah, and I believe he was also maybe one of the MLW originals. I know Tony Mamaluke was.
Yeah.
So possibly I think Little Guido as well. So it's multiple throwbacks there, and it was cool to see. I'm an Italian. I always thought FBI was hilarious. So good to see them. Good to see Little Guido in there, and of course the Samoan SWAT team just continuing to dominate. Love how they're building them up. This is an old school style of building somebody up, just having them come out and beat everybody week after week after week until they get that title shot. So I'm enjoying it. Keep the Samoan SWAT team. They're one of the bright spots in MLW right now. Yeah.
The future is bright for sure. And then we get an EJ and Hammer kind of recap of their match leading up to next week's premiere of MLW Underground, which they will both be facing off for the title in a last man standing match. And then we get an EJ promo right after. And man, this promo, I mean, if you're going to go out, this is a way to go out. I mean, this promo was fucking top notch. Couple bright spots, couple quotables that I got. We're not cut from the same cloth. I came here with blood, sweat, and enterprise. I believe that's what he said. Again, equity. Thank you very much. Blood, sweat, and equity. And these muscles right here, they're not decoration. I love that. I really did love that line. So EJ focused on the task at hand, but obviously when you're now a free agent, spoiler, I mean, you can put 2 and 2 together. We know he does not win the title from Hammer, but I am expecting this match to be a great way for him to go out on, and wherever the judge winds up, we know he's going to be a great addition to whichever roster he signs with.
100%. And this promo, like you said, I loved the intensity. EJ, he's gotten so much better since his time in MLW. It's really nice to see guys who are committed to improving themselves and working hard at doing that. The only exception I'm going to take with that promo, and I'm also going to take an exception with Alex Kane's promo for the same reason, is he said something that was not accurate. Maybe him and Hammerstone aren't cut from the same cloth, but they kind of are, because Hammer wasn't exactly like, he didn't have no silver spoon. Hammer came up and like had low self-esteem and went into the gym and did things. So they kind of are cut from the same cloth in a sense. Like they both got where they are on merit and not on any sort of nepotism or anything like that. So I thought that was that took away from the promo a little bit for me, just a bit. But it was such a great, intense overall promo. Like kudos to EJ. And like you said, no matter where he goes, pretty confident he's going to thrive. So this will be a great match to go out on. I'm expecting it to be an MLW classic.
Absolutely. I could not agree more. And then we get a Bulldogs promo on the Boomaye Fight Club. And this is the one that felt very, very forced. They were in the gym. He was showing the Dynamite
different holds.
Different holds, and it seemed very, very forced. It seemed very, very rehearsed. I didn't get any quotables because there were no quotables. I love Davey Boy Smith. I've sat down with Davey Boy Smith Jr. And let's be honest, he is cut from much the same cloth like his old man was. Great in-ring technician, not so great in the mic. And that's just the part that maybe Harry Smith needs to improve on. But this promo was utterly forgettable. But what was the bright spot was Alex Kane's promo a little bit later on the show. We'll get to that. But next week, also premiering on MLW Underground on Tuesday, February 7th, we're going to get another Peach State prize fight, which should be great. And we got an unorthodox matchup. We got the debuting, I don't know if we're going to see him, but debuting locals talent, Vinny Pacifico. He's an 8-year pro from Staten Island. And he faced off against a man we have not seen in a ring in MLW since he debuted. He usually comes out with a leash. We nicknamed him the Gimp, but
Yes.
Dr. Dax steps through the ropes. And I actually was surprised. Dax, like, laid it down. It wasn't match of the year, but it was an enjoyable match. Pacifico looked strong, but I mean, how can he look strong against an opposing force like Dax? I mean, really, Pacifico was going to lose this match from the jump, but still, Pacifico did get a couple cool spots in. There was a great uppercut where he kind of knocked Dax into the corner. I thought it was pretty impressive. But I mean, Dax did take the win, and it's great that they're building up Dax because since Holodead and Gangrel have kind of disappeared, Strange Sangre is kind of no more. We have no idea what's happening ever since the attacks by AO, which we're going to get an update on that a little bit later on in the recap. Strange Sangre has kind of been MIA.
Yeah, it's weird. I noticed Holodead is not doing dates there anymore, so that's kind of weird. But Vinny Pacifico, I can tell you that he did do an appearance on like an NXT taping. I forget who he wrestled, but he was known as Adam Harding. He wrestled Joe Gacy, NXT 2.0. When was that? That was a couple years ago, November 2021. So, he had a minute match in NXT, but I thought he looked pretty good. He's a 7-year veteran. He's not he's not green or anything like that. But obviously his job, he was there to bump for Dax and whatnot. But interesting to see Dax actually wrestling as opposed to being on a leash or just being part of Sangre, which, like you said, is apparently no more.
No more. Erez is also
shitty.
gone as well. We don't know where Erez is not there either. He's not doing dates with them either. So everyone from Strange Sangre minus Dax is no longer on MLW TV anyways for the foreseeable future. We get a Ty Valkyrie recap and kind of promo. And the only quotable I got from this promo was something that we already knew. It's not really a spoiler. Someone hot is coming. And obviously she means John Morrison. 100%.
Yeah.
There's nobody else that she would consider to be hot other than her significant other. So we already knew that John Morrison was coming, but him actually coming back to MLW, that is happening definitely in the near future. Then we get Hammer promo on EJ's match. Sorry, on the EJ match. Hammer's promo, you know what? There was juxtaposition. I mean, maybe they should have listed Hammer's promo before they listed EJ's promo, because it might have worked better if it was flipped. I'm not sure if you understand what I mean there, Rob, but it might have worked better in the timeline of the episode if they had actually put Hammer's promo before they put in Dukas. The one quotable that I got from Hammer's promo is that this is all he knows. This is all he's ever been about. But what is it for you, EJ? What is it for you? Which, when you think about it, I myself as a fan couldn't answer that question. EJ's obviously in it for the payday. If you're a champion, you get paid more than just a regular member of the roster. There are bonuses and stuff involved. So obviously EJ's in it for his family. We know this, but he's also in it for the money. Whereas Hammer, I think, like you said, the juxtaposition. So that's why I believe if these promos were reversed, it might have worked out better. But regardless of the fact, Hammer's promo was great. And to end it like that was pretty smart. What is it for you, EJ? What are you into this for? Why do you want this title so bad? Is it for recognition? Is it to be the #1 spot? Or is it for just cold, hard fucking cash? I believe it's for the cold, hard cash. That's the way I look at EJ and Duca these days. And yeah, so I think these promos would have worked better if they were flipped. What about you? What do you think?
I agree. I think it just would have looked better if it was flipped. I kind of liked Hammer's. I think I actually liked Hammer's promo more. I don't know. But they were both
a
pretty
little soft, whereas EJ hooked me in right away. But then
yeah,
that's weird. Hammer's promo started off kind of soft, but got better near the end. Whereas EJ's hooked me in right away, but he kind of drifted off near the end. So it's almost like they should have just used half of each promo and it would have been good. Hammer's
a slow build in his promos. He starts off, you're kind of like, oh fuck, Hammer, you're losing me here. But by the end, you're like, God, I'm locked in. Yeah. That's what's just something I've noticed about Hammer's promos.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm excited for the match. Regardless, I think it's gonna be a good one. I think that EJ, knowing he was probably going out, like really wanted to leave a mark with this match, and I think Hammer they probably went in there like, let's go out and have a fucking banger. Not that they wouldn't want to in the first place, but they're like, let's leave EJ's name on MLW with a banger.
Absolutely, and I believe that's going to deliver next week, MLW Underground, February 7th. I feel like I plugged that so much. And then we get another class. Speaking of promo kings, I mean, top notch. Other than now that Richard Holiday's kind of on the shelf right now, fighting the fight that he's fighting, Alex Kane has taken over as promo king in MLW. And that's the honest truth. Alex Kane, in my eyes, can do nothing wrong. I mean, naming the Opera Cup Oprah Cup, I just didn't like it because of the fact that I like the name Opera Cup. Don't sully it. You don't have to change it to any big celebrity's name. Just keep it Opera Cup. But Alex Kane, that's your decision. This was the greatest line of the entire fucking promo. The survey is in, and Boomaye is for the people. And no one cool ever came out of England.
He said something about your shitty teeth.
Yeah, you're shitty. He just went off on Dynamite Kid's nephews, and it was just fucking hilarious gold. And it's just Alex Kane, man. He's just fucking. The progression of this man over the last year is insane. And MLW, you want to talk about somebody literally given the ball and told to run with it, kid, and running with it and exceeding your expectations. You don't have to look any further than Alex fucking Kane. That guy is the goddamn truth when it comes to what a wrestler could do if given a platform.
But
man, I feel like this whole recap, you've just been waiting to cut me off. What? But
no, I'm just I have
but.
thoughts. Here's the thing. If I don't share my thoughts, I lose them. So I gotta like cue myself to remember to speak. The only part Alex lost me in this promo was when he said nobody in the last 25 years has been over from England in the United States. Come on, Alex. You can't tell me that William Regal is not universally loved in pro wrestling. That was the only thing that got me.
Yeah, but
if you left that out, might have.
Yeah, but I think, I mean, same token, he's saying nobody cool ever came out of England. Again, Pete Dunne.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody that came out of England. Like, there's been a lot of good guys that have come out of England. I mean, the whole NXT UK roster was pretty solid.
The ones that didn't get decimated from speaking out, yeah, they got tons of good wrestlers out there.
Wild Boar, Hitchman, Eddie Dennis. There's been a lot of good wrestlers. So, yeah, but again, I think he was focusing more on Dynamite Kid's
fair
lineage. So maybe that's where he was going with it. But regardless, he still knocked this one out of the fucking park, 150%. And then we get another recap of Sam Adonis's debut from the previous week. And we get a Sam Adonis promo. And this was highlight of the night for me on this one. Before we get into the final, match of the night, if you will. When the sun comes up, I always leave them crying. I'm here, and the difference between me and everyone else is I don't care about fame. I care about being the best. And
I'll tell you,
he flashed the Sam Adonis smile, and it was pretty damn fucking convincing.
When he did that, so it's a little bit dated and a little cliche to do that whole I'm the this and that, like that rhyming thing, but I love it. I don't care about either of those two things. I think I love when guys do that. You can't do it too often all the time, but he did it great. I thought his wordplay was fantastic. I really enjoyed that promo. I think he's like, I like him, but I also, just looking at his face, I'm like, I don't like you. And that's a great heel quality to have. You know what I mean? Just that face that you'll want to hate. Like MJF has that. You know what I mean? Some guys just have that face and you're like, I just look at you and I like you as a worker, but I just don't like your face. And it makes me not like you. And for a heel, that's money. That's money.
I would agree with you. On that. There's a lot of wrestlers in Ontario that have that same quality. They're great people, but they have that face you want to punch. And there also is a lot of fans in Ontario that have that quality, but in reverse. You just want to punch them in the fucking head sometimes. Very annoying. Very annoying.
It might happen soon.
Well, yeah, there's been quite the controversy in the Ontario indie wrestling scene over the last couple of days. That's for sure. But we'll leave that to inner circle business.
We'll leave that to other people.
Leave it there. That's what we'll say. We'll leave it there. And then we get our main event. It's a 6-man action. Lucha action is always great. Microman, Lince Dorado, and Leia Estrella versus Delirious, Mini Abismo, and Azteca 31. Azteca 31 is, in case you're wondering, one of the henchmen for CD. It's probably a very talented wrestler, but he's just henchman. Black jeans, turtleneck, and the henchman Lucha Libre mask. But this one was great. Right up until Leia Estrella. A little bit surprising. A good guy. Him and Lince Dorado were bumped into each other kind of in the match, and he kind of just was like, what the fuck, and stormed out of the match, leaving Microman and Lince Dorado to kind of have a handicap match situation. Not sure where this is going, but as he walked away, CD was saying stuff in his ear, couldn't really figure it out. Obviously, whatever happened Cesar Duran had his fingerprints on it. I'm not sure if Lea Estrella was paid to maybe walk out and use that as a point to be like, okay, fuck you, you bumped me, or something else. You never know with CD, but regardless of the fact, Microman was on point, Lince Dorado was on point, and they won this one in quite convincing fashion. Lince Dorado really came back. He really came back and did that whole, hulked up thing that a lot of wrestlers would do when they're kind of in that position where like, fuck, this guy's done. There's no way he could do it. But he came back, he sold me, and it was a great match. But Lea Estrella, I was a big fan. I don't know, man. It's not a classy move, bro. You can't leave your team. And he still got fucking credit for the win, which sucks.
I laughed at that too. I think they're building to the Lince and La Estrella having a match, like world title feud or middleweight title feud, excuse me.
Obviously.
Or at least having them be in the picture. So that just gives like a reason now why they're feuding. But I enjoyed the match, especially like the ending sequence with Microman. He looked smooth doing all those things. Like I recognize, it's a lot of the other wrestler doing it, but man, Microman just has a swagger to him. Of course, the headbutt to the dick is always entertaining. I don't know. I thought the match could have been, I don't know, there's a weird thing to say. It could have been better, but I still enjoyed it for what it was.
I don't know. I thought what they had to work with, and the fact of the big part of the match being Lea Estrella leaving the match, that where they kind of ran into a time fluctuation. Also, bell to bell, they only got about 10 minutes. By the time everybody came out, they really only had about 10 minutes to work with before they had to wrap up this episode. So regardless of the facts, CD's not happy. Microman is still in MLW. He has not lost since that kind of gauntlet thing has been thrown down. And now he's aligned himself with Lince Dorado, which makes him even more dangerous because Lince Dorado is dangerous. So, and the fact that they're coming out and matching fucking, smoking jackets, it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. I love it. I absolutely love it. Microman could do no wrong in my eyes. But Lea Estrella, I don't know, man. I don't know. Not a classy move. I'll be honest with you. I don't fall for kayfabe too often. When that happened, I was like, I kind of paused it. And I was kind of like, what a dick. That was a dick move. Very dick move.
Yeah, I've done that. I've done that to somebody recently, actually. I know exactly what you mean.
You've walked out on a match, or you just had a dick move?
No, I just looked at someone and I was like, wow, that was a dick move.
Yeah, that was me yesterday at my house, you fucking idiot.
Yeah, it was.
I sold my daughter up the river, and that's what he's talking about. Whatever. Fuck him and the horse he rode in on. All right,
wow.
That's
what
it.
What did my horse do to you?
You know what? I don't know, but I'll figure it out. If your horse hasn't done something, your cat's definitely pissed me off. Anyways, that's it for this one. This is it for MLW Rewind. I'm not even going to let this motherfucker shout out his socials. I have editing to do, and I got to fix up some mistakes that happened in the episode, which you luckily won't see. Peace, love, and wrestling. We'll see you guys next time. See you later. I'm not even letting you talk. Nope, not letting you say it. Nope. I muted you.
Cause I don't give a fuck what you say. Yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make.